participate in the CLE sessions. They are loaded with practical knowledge, insights, and real-world innovations that are essential for today's lawyer. Professional capacity, but also empower us to contribute more effectively to justice delivery and society development. I commend the Law Week Planning Committee for their vision, diligence, and creativity in putting this impactful program together. I cannot end this speech without mentioning some of the gains of this administration of the branch and our headline items. We have in our 1.5 years in office championed activities geared towards upholding the rule of law in the state. We have continued to stand by our mandate as watchdogs for society and have catered to welfare needs of members of our branch with our health insurance scheme. Mentorship of young lawyers has been a headline project for us, and we remain committed to their career development for those who seek such opportunities, which is why we have a mentorship day, a mentorship and career day this week. It cannot be overemphasized that the future of the legal profession is dependent on the young lawyers. Therefore, we must prepare them now for the future. I would like to use this opportunity to appreciate the Governor of Rivers State, His Excellency Sasimin Alayi Fubara, GSSRS, who has continually supported the bar and bench in the state and has once again honored us with his presence. Please, can we appreciate His Excellency? His now acclaimed peaceful disposition and welfarist policies in the state are highly commendable and worthy of emulation by all. We continue to urge the three arms of government in the state to work harmoniously and in unison for the collective interest of Rivers people and residents of Rivers State. There can be no progress in an atmosphere of rancor. We need peace. We need peace in Rivers State. We commend, my Lord, the Chief Judge of Rivers State, Honorable Justice S.C. Amadi, DSSRS, for his open door policy towards the branch and his kind accommodation of our requests. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all warmly to this Law Week, and may it be enlightening, invigorating, richly rewarding for each of us as we explore new frontiers in legal practice. Once again, welcome. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you. If you've been the chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association, Port Harcourt branch, 1998 to the year 2000, and of course, you were a notable member of the Council of Legal Education, 1998 to 2006, and then you were appointed the Honorable Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in July 2007. You had served as the president of the Nigerian Bar Association, 26th president of the Nigerian Bar Association. And then you've been given and elevated to the prestigious rank of the senior advocate of Nigeria. And then, of course, given the distinguished service star of Rivers State. Then you're worthy to be the chairman of today's occasion. Let us welcome for the chairman's welcome address, Okewale, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, FCAB, Distinguished Service Star of Rivers State.
Your Excellency, the Governor of Rivers State, very ably represented by the Solicitor General and Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Justice. My Lord, the Honorable, the Chief Judge of Rivers State, My lords, judges of the High Court of Rivers State, my chairman, you're still directed. President. That's how significant it is to organize this. So I congratulate you. Don't be discouraged by our colleagues who would rather be looking for TP than come here. And I tell people that those who have issues with coming to places like this, everything we do in life is grace of God. They don't come up here. Most times, if you prepare to hang around the court premises, you hang around there for so long because the people will move on without you. So I pray, my colleagues, that you appreciate the importance of seminars like this, workshops like this, Law Week, to learn, particularly when they've taken care to pick a topic like what they have done with this theme of the conference. Many of us are analog. And the truth is that the world has moved on. Even in Nigeria, they've moved on. That's why we pray that although the governor or most people will tell you that this is not a forum for complaints, our courts need to be more digitalized. Our courts need to suit with technology. We'll have that problem. And if we have that issue, if we have a problem from the courts, then the lawyers don't seem to recognize the significance of technology. Technology has challenges. This morning I was listening to a program on, I think it was Fox News, and they were talking about AI problems from MIT, that most work on AI are failing. But the latest jobs on AI, about 90% were failing. But that is not to say that we will not move on with technology, because I'm sure those that it is they afford to do that will work on whatever failures they have. And it is worse with us here, Port Harcourt. It was so much engrossed in transport money and things like that, that we do not recognize the fact that practice has walked away from that. Lagos is much better if you interact with them. In fact, I thought that we were doing very well until we now have a new managing partner running our firm from Lagos. And she's so shocked by what we have been doing there. And I said, listen, people just leave me hand. I'm facing retirement. Nobody should call in my name to come and be learning anything now. But that is the truth of the matter. Even from Lagos, what is this? What is going on here? You know, it's a world of difference between what we're doing and where the rest of the world is. So technology is key moving forward. You'll be left behind if you don't key in. So I implore my colleagues to pay attention to what we're doing here today. And you know, we have a very good keynote speaker today to deal with that. The bit expert I have given to you. You know, how we got him here today. I tell people that the problem we have at the bar today is that we're not grooming leaders, or rather, people are allowing themselves to be groomed. So you have people in bar offices who do not know what to do at the bar. The one thing we do at the bar is that people don't jump from nowhere. You remain in the system, you see the way things are done. I'm telling you this because my chairman just directed me. As I said, my chairman, you're still directing. She called me just last week and said to me, my president, we're in trouble. I said, what's the trouble? We'll have a challenge with getting a keynote speaker for next week. Everybody is saying it's too late, it's too late, it's too late. They don't have time to prepare papers. Who will you capture for us? She started by capturing me. Now asking, who will I capture? So I thought left, I thought right. I said, okay. I looked at the topic. I said, I know one man that would do a good job on this. I said, let me call him first. I called him. That is the point about MBA, service, before you jump to the top. I obeyed my chairman because I learned to obey people at the bar from my seniors. And I'll tell you the story. He's not here now, he's somewhere for some important events. The Honorable Osidi Okocha. When I was elected secretary in 1992, I was trying to arrange a hall for a program. And here he comes. I said, my secretary, what is it? I said, Senior, I'm looking for people to help me arrange this place. He started carrying chairs by himself and arranging the place. I learned from that experience that once you are an officer of the bar, every other person should obey you and take instructions from you. It's an event that happened. I was secretary in 1992. When this thing happened. But that experience hasn't left me. So when she called me and ordered me to get her somebody, I obeyed. Because I'm used to obeying authority at the bar. Now, the other bit about it is that Mr. Abimbola, I met him when I was chairman. I first worked with him when I was chairman of a conference planning committee in 2011. And he was secretary, also worked with us on that team. So when I got elected president in 2012, 2013 conference, I called, he said, no, Mr. President, please, I have done my bit for the bar. I said, please, you can't abandon me. Again, that Calabar conference, and most lawyers have not forgotten about, that was the spirit behind the Calabar conference in 2013. I call him Mr. Capacity. Owerri conference, they were all clapping for us. He moved from secretary in Calabar to chairman of Owerri Conference. So if I wasn't president, I hadn't been part of MBA, would I go from Port Harcourt to Ibadan before he moved to Lagos, mixing Lagos and Ibadan now to know him? So once we start leaving the bar, we start getting it wrong. Going forward, we should look for people who know what to do at the bar. Former Attorney General of Oyo State, former chairman of Ibadan branch, former chairman of Sexual and Legal Practice of the MBA, and all of that. You can't get it better. So I'm supremely confident that my brother Silk and my friend, Shema Bimbola, will give a good job for us. So please listen to him and learn from him. Enjoy your conference. Thank you very much.
Called to the Nigerian bar in 1993. And then remained in active legal practice, specializing in commercial law and technology, intellectual property, and ADR. Twice recognized as a global legal expert in Nigeria in the field of telecommunications, media, and technology law by the Who's Who Legal Registry Global Lawyers. A member of the International Bar. This Colossus is a recipient of numerous awards and laurels in recognition of his leadership and distinction in the legal profession. 4-time recipient of the NBA President's Award of Merit for his excellent contributions to the development of the legal profession and the bar in Nigeria, an award conferred on him by successive NBA presidents in 2010, 2014, 2016, and 2023. Served as the Honorable Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Oyo State from June till May 29, 2019. Of course, was conferred with the rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria by the Legal Practitioners Privileges Committee in December 2022. I welcome you, Oluseun M. Abimbola, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, our keynote speaker. Please put your hands together as he takes the rostrum for his speech.
Your Excellency, the Governor of Rivers State, Sir Siminalayi Fubara, ably represented by the Solicitor General and Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Justice. My Lord, the Chief Judge of Rivers State, Honorable Justice S. Amadi, Judges of Rivers State High Court, serving and retired, my chairman of occasion, my president, the Honorable Okewale SAN, you are too kind with your words on me. It's always a privilege and a pleasure working with you all these years, being in the trenches, looking for hand sanitizer all over the world, in the conference of Ebola. Thank you very much. Learned Senior Advocates of Nigeria, elders, patrons of the bar, and I'd like to specially recognize His Royal Highness, Serena Dokubo Spiff. Thank you, sir. My chairman of the branch and the first female chair of the NBA Port Harcourt branch. And I say this emphatically because slowly but surely, our colleagues in, well, they don't always wear skirt, they also wear trousers. But we used to say our colleagues in skirts are slowly but surely becoming chairmen of branches. We had our first chairman in Ibadan after 68 years of the branch. And so you have come even earlier than us. Congratulations again. And of course, members of our executive, the Honorable Commissioner of Police, I welcome you. Distinguished colleagues, distinguished invited guests, I'm happy to see the President and members of the Chamber of Commerce, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure, it's a privilege for me to stand here and share some thoughts with us on this important topic, which is the theme of the Law Week 2025 for MBA Port Harcourt branch, the cutting edge legal practice. When past President Okewale called me to take this keynote, I was thinking to myself, the edge of my legal practice has not cut to his side. So why should I come and be invited to speak cutting edge legal practice? But I looked at the topic and it's something that we have worked upon for quite a while in various roles. And of course, it's an important area, an important wake-up call for all of us, bar, bench, as well as aspiring members into the profession to reinvent for the purpose for which development has come upon us. And so it's with profound honor I stand before you to give this address at the occasion of this year's Law Week. It's a pivotal moment when the practice of law stands at a crossroad between tradition and innovation, between resistance to change and the imperative for reinvention, between pedestrian and cutting edge. The theme of this Law Week, cutting edge legal practice, catching up with innovations, reinventions for societal impact, speaks directly to this defining challenge of our time. The imperative for change. For generations, we've prided ourselves on the stability, consistency, and time-tested methodologies of legal practice. Indeed, these pillars and virtues have anchored the rule of law and protected the interests of the vulnerable. Yet, the world around us has transformed dramatically in the way we do the business of law. Our clients now operate in digital ecosystems. The courts they navigate face unprecedented backlogs in their dockets. Communities we serve expect faster, more affordable, and more accessible legal solutions. And the law as an instrument of justice cannot, in our mode of delivering legal services, remain locked in the practices and procedures of the past if it is to serve the present digitally minded clientele, fast-paced business processes, and future evolutions in the nature of work and processes our clients continue to initiate. The advent of work from home has changed employment laws in redefining the absentees of staff. Online trading in goods and services has introduced diverse interpretations into when contracts are deemed established. In the recent Canadian case of Southwest Terminal and Acta Land, citation supplied, which was affirmed on appeal, the Saskatchewan court held that a thumbs up emoji in the context of the legal agreement of parties was sufficient indication of a valid acceptance to ground a contract in view of the surrounding circumstances, thus expanding the boundaries of what may have been arguably an implied consent to becoming an express consent, as the emoji was deemed as an e-signature of sorts. The Nigerian legal system, like many across Africa, faces formidable challenges. We are constrained by case backlogs that see some matters languish in courts for years or decades, frustrating litigants and eroding public confidence in our justice system. Access to legal resources remains limited, particularly in rural and underdeveloped areas where legal professionals are not readily available, and where they are, struggle to provide accurate and timely advice due to fragmented information systems and limited access to resources. The high cost of legal services further creates an almost insurmountable barrier to justice for many citizens, effectively denying them their fundamental rights to due process and access to justice. These are not abstract problems. They represent real constraints in our obligation to our society. Yet, alongside these challenges also lie unprecedented opportunities. Technology, particularly artificial intelligence and digital evolution, are driving various innovations and offer transformative solutions to how we do business, including the practice of law. The question should therefore no longer be whether we will change, but whether we will lead that change or be swept along or, God forbid, swept away by it. The technology revolution, opportunities and imperatives. The convergence of law, technology, and industrial practices in the digital age presents both challenges and opportunities we cannot ignore. Law firms, including Nigerian firms, are increasingly subject to the incursion of emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, data analytics, document management, etc., to streamline their processes, improve efficiency, and provide better client services. AI-powered tools can help us conduct legal research more quickly and accurately, while data analytics can help predict case outcomes based on precedents and offer strategic insights to lawyers in advising our clients. Just last month, Law Pavilion launched yet another upgrade of what was previously upgraded. I know many of us bought Law Pavilion when it first came out with its first model, but they have had 4 upgrades since that time. So in case you're still on the first one, that means you'll be lacking the tools that in the last one. They have developed an AI that works specifically with our cases. One of the challenges of AI is that it can go and be fishing in the dark for what is not correct. But they have trained their own AI robot that it only fishes within the constrained limits of the case law that they are fed into their system. So all Nigerian cases, it will fish around that terrain, and the cases cited by those precedents. So the likelihood of finding a Law Pavilion AI suggests a case that does not exist is very, very slim. That's the difference between theirs. I'm not marketing for them in case you are wondering if I'm a shareholder. I'm not, but I've seen what their tools can do compared to what is available out there on the shelf from other jurisdictions. And without prejudice to other challenges of our humanity and environment, I consider that in practical applications in our coming years, AI-powered legal tools will be indispensable for legal professionals seeking efficiency and precision in research. These tools can sift through vast amounts of case law, statutes, and legal documents in seconds, providing relevant information far more quickly than our traditional methods. Across Africa, AI-based systems are already helping professionals in drafting documents, reviewing contracts, summarizing complex legal text, allowing lawyers to focus on higher value work that require human judgment, discretion, and interpretation. According to global research, AI-powered legal tools can reduce the time spent on tasks such as document review by 70% and strategic work. More significantly, digital cloud technology, which statistics show is now adopted by 42% of law firms globally, boosts collaboration, accessibility, and cost efficiency while maintaining the cybersecurity standards our clients demand. Blockchain technology and smart contracts hold the prospect to ensure transparency in legal transactions and prevent tampering or manipulation of records, a crucial innovation for building public confidence in our legal system. The boundaries continue to shift daily, with new innovations hitting the markets in financial services, automation of business processes, data management, robotic engineering of routine services, including office administration, etc. This is perhaps an introduction of the legal profession to the age we once watched in movies like Transformers. Case management and access to justice. One of the most impactful applications of technology is in automated case management. The United States federal courts use a case management system that is adapted by various state courts with the support and assistance of the National Center for State Courts. In Africa, countries like Rwanda, South Africa, and Zimbabwe have adopted variants of case management applications, enabling parties and lawyers to do e-filing, case scheduling, assignment of cases, and document automation. Nigerian courts in various states have adopted various forms of case management systems that allow for e-filing, e-service of processes, among other tasks. Lagos, Rivers, Bayelsa, Borno, among others, lead the way in this. And I indeed commend Rivers State. I've personally engaged with the system in Rivers State for e-filing. And I also observed that once you have filed, there is a deeming process of it being already served on the other lawyer in terms of the process you run, that you don't have to run through the usual problem of bailiffs. And that is a step that have been amended to include procedures of case management. And we now have scheduled pretrial case management hearings meant to narrow down issues, assess proposed exhibits and documents, review front-loaded documents. While this is commendable, considering where we are coming from and the current challenges, AI-powered case management systems can further reduce the congestion in our court dockets arising from the backlog of cases by automating routine tasks, such as case scheduling. Sometimes just to take a date will already cost a judex like 15 minutes. And these are routine tasks. Even registry fixing of dates is a routine task. Assignment of cases when cases are filed is a routine task. And all those routine tasks can be automated. And by automating it, we also eliminate personal influences that are sometimes prevalent in some assignment of matters. Because it's already automated. Once it's filed, it goes, whatever criteria or system is set up will naturally filter it into the docket of whichever judex the matter should go. And that's how it happens in other jurisdictions. And so even when my Lord, the Chief Judge is not necessarily in the state on other assignments, it doesn't have to be the one to do it, or neither does it have to be an admin judge. It is already automated, and that functions effectively in many countries of the world. This also is possible not just for assignment of cases, but for tracking deadlines with automated response alerts to the court and to counsel on record as various deadlines and timelines in the rules approach. The rules already prescribe different timelines for doing different things. Those AI, combine artificial intelligence with an intelligent case management system to create comprehensive tools for document management, legal research, and case monitoring. You know, there's a verse in the Bible, I think it's in Acts of the Apostles, chapter 6, when some people came to meet the apostles and they were arguing about who gets food and who is not getting food in the house of God. And Peter said, look, we should not leave the weightier matters of the word. Somebody, let them be minding that, but we will give ourselves to the ministry of the word and to prayer. That's what we should allow our judges to do, so that they don't have to busy themselves with those small jobs, administrative things, so that they can give themselves and time to the particular task of being a judex, not just assigning dates and stuff. The democratization of legal services through technology is important. In our jurisdiction, where legal services are often expensive for the average citizen, AI-powered virtual assistants and chatbots are already being used to provide basic legal guidance, helping individuals to navigate processes and answer common legal questions. There are platforms like Case Radar that offer legal guidance in local languages, and they operate in Nigeria presently as we speak, making it easier for people to understand their rights and to seek justice. This is not merely a business opportunity. It is a fulfillment of our professional obligation to expand access to justice. While some may consider this a usurpation of the traditional lawyer roles by technology, please note that these are the times we live when businesses and transactions move faster than the pace of our traditional models of lawyering. The client remains king, and where he is acquiring some sophistication to have a head start on how we practice law, the discerning lawyer does his practice a lot of good if he or she domiciles these technological innovations in chambers for fee earners to maximize their billing and allocation of time while remaining relevant to their client's business. Skills, specialization, and professional development. Digital transformation requires us to invest seriously in our people. The integration of emerging technologies and legal practice demands that we develop new competencies. Lawyers must acquire expertise in technology law, data protection, cybersecurity. The legal profession now enters a phase of not merely having a duty to deliver legal services as competently as possible, but now has alongside a duty of technical competence, requiring that lawyers be proficient in using technology, demonstrate competence in emerging business models, and developing strong interpersonal skills. This presents both an obligation and an opportunity for professional development. We must therefore encourage specialization in emerging areas. The demand for legal expertise in artificial intelligence, intellectual property, particularly in the context of generative AI and NFTs, data privacy and cybersecurity, alternative dispute resolution, has never been higher. These are not peripheral specializations. They're increasingly becoming central to modern businesses and, by extension, central to legal professionals that service those businesses. For us in Nigeria, specifically, there is the urgent need to strengthen our training infrastructure. The modernization of legal education remains a critical concern. We must upgrade curricula in our universities, establish more robust CLE programs, and create mentorship pathways that equip the next generation, not just with legal knowledge, but with the digital literacy and business acumen our evolving profession demands. Lawyers should not be the ones opposing the need for mandatory continuing legal education. Except a lawyer considers himself God, will he think he does not need further professional development in this fast-changing global economic space? Rather, we should be aspiring to a state when the NBA need not mandate continuing legal education on us, but we as legal practitioners will own the scheme and mandate it upon ourselves and our firms as a domiciled regular feature in our processes and operations. But only then can we hope to catch up and keep pace with global development in our various practice areas. Legal ethics and responsible innovation. It is the advert slogan of Pirelli tires that, quote, power is nothing without control. With opportunity comes corresponding responsibility. Whereas technology and the rise of AI can simplify complex legal processes for the practitioner and courts, yet the unchecked use of AI in legal practice can have serious consequences, including professional embarrassment, wasted resources, financial penalties, and potentially adverse outcomes for clients. We are all aware of recent cases in other clients where lawyers have been misled, legal research, damaged client relationships, and professional sanctions. This demands that we embrace a culture of excellence, accountability, and depth in legal research and reasoning, rather than allowing automated machines do all the thinking for all our outcomes. While we may not count our money issued to us by an ATM machine, we lose nothing to cross-check sensitive research outcomes and citations that AI generates, which we intend to submit to our clients, third parties, or courts to rely upon. I must confess that I also employed AI in the course of reviewing some data for this paper. But after employing AI, for those of you that have copies, you will see references at the back. AI can tell me this is it. I went back to check. Is it so? That is our responsibility. Don't just cut and paste it and throw it to the judge to determine whether the case exists or not. Go check and be sure it is what it is. More broadly, we must address the ethical concerns such as bias in AI systems and ensure that technology serves to enhance justice and not compromise it. Artificial intelligence role in judicial settings should be to streamline certain processes, enabling legal professionals to dedicate more attention and exercise of discretion in decision-making. This balance is critical, as while AI enhances efficiency, it must be without compromising the essence of justice and the human touch essential in legal decision-making. Alternative dispute resolution and innovation. Now, ADR mechanisms have the advantage of lower cost, time efficiency, flexibility, privacy, and confidentiality, and greater control over the dispute resolution process. These are not merely alternatives to litigation. They are sophisticated professional avenues for dispute resolution that can deliver justice more effectively in many contexts. In a jurisdiction struggling with court backlogs, the expansion of ADR mechanisms offer possibilities for immediate relief and systemic improvement. Yet, these mechanisms can only flourish if we as lawyers champion them and develop genuine expertise in mediation, arbitration, and negotiated settlements. This requires professional development, training, and a shift in mindset away from the perception that litigation is the only legitimate form of legal practice. We have that perception too in my jurisdiction. If you are not in litigation, you're not a good lawyer. I have seniors who have had to counsel because they wanted to start juniors, because as far as they were concerned, he's not a good lawyer because the person was not interested in litigation. I used to have a lawyer who was never interested in going to court, but she would sit in the library and prepare all our written addresses, and you will not touch anything. But if you give her the files, they go argue, she say, I can't. Until we compelled it. But assuming we had sacked her in year 1, today she's a partner in the office. She's been with us for 16 years. But yet, now she does court very well. When in the beginning, she wasn't interested. So it just takes one to discover the skills that the individual has come with and then brush it up. And that is the reason why you cannot overemphasize mentorship. And you have a committee, a mentorship committee at the branch. So I'm sure we can take advantage of that. ADR practitioners must themselves ensure ethical practice of ADR so as not to dampen the zeal of new adherents who have been disillusioned by the near missile impact of the P&ID case on the Nigerian state. Nevertheless, ADR has come to stay and continues to evolve in its practice. The COVID-19 pandemic launched us into a compelled embrace of innovations in how we resolve disputes. With the lockdown on physical meetings for months, dispute resolution and court processes assumed virtual platforms and has occasioned amendments to court rules allowing for virtual hearings. ADR institutions launched online dispute resolution rules to enhance and streamline the practice of ADR using virtual platforms and had to open up innovative ways of continuing resolution sessions during the pandemic, a practice that has come to stay even post-pandemic. Societal impact. Perhaps more importantly, our innovations and reinventions must be in service of the society. The legal profession has a unique responsibility to advance the rule of law, protect the vulnerable, and contribute. This is not just charity, it is the essence of our profession. We see remarkable examples across the world of law firms integrating corporate social responsibility into their core business. Beyond our individual pro bono work, law firms provide pro bono legal services to adopted vulnerable communities, offer legal education to empower citizens, and engage in impact litigation designed to effect societal change. These are growing examples. There are growing examples of firms across the world and in Nigeria whose CSR programs focus on education, health, the environment, and the rights of vulnerable groups. These initiatives are not peripheral to the business of law, but they should be central to how we define our professional identity. When we leverage technology to reduce costs and improve efficiency, we create the capacity to serve those who we currently cannot reach. When we expand access to legal information and guidance, we expand access to justice itself. So what is the path forward? Integration, not replacement. As we look to the future, our challenge is not to choose between tradition and innovation, but to integrate them intelligently. The craftsmanship of legal reasoning, the ethical foundations of our profession, the interpersonal skills that build trust with clients, these remain irreplaceable, but they must be enhanced, not hindered, by the tools and methodologies now available to us. This requires action on multiple fronts. First, law firms must commit to upgrading their digital infrastructure and systems, recognizing that outdated systems create bottlenecks and limit our ability to serve clients effectively. Second, we must invest in continuous professional development for our lawyers. The practice of law has fundamentally changed, and our training must reflect that change. Third, we must establish clear ethical guidelines for the use of AI and other emerging technologies. And this is very critical, particularly for the new entrants into the profession. The average lawyer that exits the law school now, when you give them a paper to write, a work to research, they just go on AI and type your question into AI. And they expect AI to just regurgitate. And what AI has given them, they may come and give to you as their outcome of their research. The danger with that is that there is no thinking going into the effort. They may be giving you something that looks good, but they lack the content to carry what they have given you because they didn't think it through. They just put it in some device and that one poured out and they felt they've done a good work. So their growth will be limited in time to come. Fifth, or fourth, we must create pathways for specialization, particularly in emerging practice areas where demand is highest and where our expertise is most needed. Fifth, and perhaps most critically, we must commit to making technology a vehicle for expanding access to justice rather than further entrenching inequality. When we adopt efficient systems, that efficiency should translate into more affordable services for legal assistance. It should serve rural communities as well as urban centers. When we innovate, we should innovate for impact. Challenges specific to our context. We cannot but acknowledge the structural changes that are particular to Nigeria and indeed to legal practice across Africa. The proliferation of very small law firms, while reflecting our entrepreneurial spirit, often prevents the kind of capital investment and strategic planning necessary for digital transformation. We need stronger incentives for collaboration, for merger, and strategic partnerships that will allow Nigerian firms to achieve the scale and resources necessary to compete globally while serving local communities. We must also address the infrastructure challenges that underpin our judicial system. Our poor courtrooms, inadequate technology infrastructure, and outdated case management systems constrain both our courts and our ability as practitioners to serve our clients effective justice. We must advocate persistently for the investment in court infrastructure, e-filing systems, and judicial technology that will modernize our courts and accelerate justice delivery. I think it's about time that our JSCs need to reinvent. In the United Kingdom, there is a different body that oversees courts, quite different from justice. And it is their responsibility to find the tools and all that is required to build and keep the infrastructure working. With the way JSCs are constituted, I was a member of a JSC, and I know that you have the chief judge, you have the president of the Customary Court of Appeal, you have the attorney general, and then you have 2 or 3 other people nominated by the governor who are not necessarily lawyers. I think only one of them is a lawyer. And mostly they come from the political space. Now, the kind of expectation we have concerning the evolution in judicial systems, how can that be delivered by somebody who hasn't walked the terrain in a way that the inputs that you expect from those non-lawyer members can actually add? It must be people that have some specific set of skills. But you know that in the choices and the consideration made in making those nominations, those skills are not in contention. Now, what is the role of the Port Harcourt Bar? The Port Harcourt branch of the Nigerian Bar Association is uniquely positioned to lead this transformation in Nigeria and beyond. Port Harcourt is a commercial hub with significant energy, maritime, and financial sectors. The legal challenges in these sectors demand sophisticated technology-enabled legal services. At the same time, the branch also serves communities with limited access to legal resources. This duality, serving both sophisticated commercial clients and vulnerable communities, creates an opportunity to model what a cutting-edge, socially conscious legal practice should look like. Some of the ways the NBA Port Harcourt can lead this model of cutting-edge, socially conscious legal practice are establishing working groups focused on legal technology adoption, sharing best practices and creating collective learning opportunities, developing training programs in AI literacy, data privacy, cybersecurity law, and other emerging practice areas. There are firms in Port Harcourt or with branches in Port Harcourt that already operate some of these tools. Those firms can actually create work groups that can feed other members. This is how it works in case you're interested in acquiring the same kind of tools. Some of these tools are available to be acquired on an enterprise level. Okay, so when you buy Law Pavilion, you can either buy a single user for your laptop or for your device. But you can also buy an enterprise version for your entire firm. In similar fashion, you could find other tools that if my one-room, one-man practice cannot afford to buy it, advocating for judicial infrastructure, investment with a unified voice that policymakers cannot ignore. These are ways the branch can assist and make this a reality. Establishing pro bono initiatives that use technology to expand legal assistance to underserved communities, partnering with law schools to ensure that legal education reflects the realities and opportunities of modern practice. As I close, in conclusion, the legal profession stands at a transformative moment. The innovations available to us, whether it's artificial intelligence or cloud computing or blockchain technology and new service delivery models, are not threats to the practice of law. They are invitations to reimagine how we serve justice. The question before us is whether we will rise to that invitation or retreat into the comfort of our established practices. Our obligation is clear. We are not merely officers of the court, we are officers of justice. We hold in trust the fundamental rights and interests of our clients and our society. When we innovate, we must do so with purpose, to make justice faster, more affordable, more accessible, and fairer. The work before us is challenging. It requires investment, learning, collaboration, and sometimes the courage to admit that the way we have always done things may not be adequate for the times we now live. It requires us to maintain the highest ethical standards, even as we embrace new tools. It requires us to use technology, not as an end in itself, but as a means to the end that has always animated our profession, the pursuit of justice and the rule of law. This Law Week is not merely an occasion for celebration or professional networking, though it is certainly both. It is a moment for recommitment to our clients, to our courts, to our communities, and to the principles that have always defined the legal profession at its best. It's a moment to acknowledge the reality of change and to resolve that we will shape that change according to our values and vision. The legal profession in Nigeria has tremendous potential. Our lawyers are talented, dedicated, and committed to justice. Our courts, despite their challenges, remain bulwarks of the rule of law. Our society desperately needs what we have to offer. The question is whether we will meet this moment with the courage, wisdom, and innovation it demands. I am confident that we will, and I'm confident that the Port Harcourt Bar will lead the way. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Think it through.
Mr. Don't worry. I'm chairman. You know, I told you I like exercising power and authority. Like my friend, late Graham Liber will say, we need to sell rotten fish. I told you I brought him Mr. Capacity. I'm sure he has vindicated that. Thank you, Shaun. To say that it was only last week. In fact, sorry, before you clap, don't clap me out yet. I called him at about 8 a.m. in the morning, and he said, Mr. President, could you give me up to 12 o'clock to come back to you? And by 12, I said, before 12, I said, Mr. Shaun, please consider this a personal favor to me. And by 12, he responded and said, I will come, I'll do it for you. I am grateful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Indeed, he caught up with the task. Let's put our hands together again for our keynote speaker. So quickly, we'll take goodwill messages. And the first would be from the President and Chairman of Council, Port Harcourt Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines, and Agriculture. Please join us together, Dr. Chiri, who she gives her goodwill message.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. You can see by the color of my dress that I'm not learned. So in order not to get into trouble, while recognizing the presence of His Excellency, our dear Governor, Sir Sim Fubara, GSSR, represented by the Solicitor General, I would say please, and of course the Chairman, Okay Wale San, SAN, and the keynote speaker, please allow me to rest on established protocol. I bring you warm greetings from Port Harcourt Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines, and Agriculture, on whose behalf I stand here, while also recognizing some of my members who joined me to this place today. The Law Week theme, cutting edge legal practice, catching up with innovations, reinventions for societal impact, is timely and very much required because the world is going digital. And if we don't align, we shall be out of business, we shall be out of practice very soon. We in the Port Harcourt Chamber of Commerce, and indeed the business community, recognize the relevance and the need for innovation. And that is why in our trade fair that is going to come up from the 12th to the 22nd of December, we have a theme as growing through innovation and sustainability, bridging markets and encouraging disruption. Because we cannot move from analog to digital without disruption. We as a chamber share commonalities with MBA. We share the vision for a greater River State through economic growth. As we in the business community say, we always need the services of MBA to advance and protect our investment. But I always tease Madam Chair, I said to her, we cannot join MBA, but the MBA can join Port Harcourt Chamber of Commerce. So please do not hesitate to join us. We thank His Excellency, our dear Governor, for identifying with MBA Port Harcourt branch and supporting women in leadership, and also creating an enabling environment for ease of doing business. Madam Chair, as has been said, you are the first Chairman MBA branch, Chairman MBA Port Harcourt branch. I am the first female president of Port Harcourt Chamber since 1957. And we hope that we shall not be the last females in these leadership positions. We encourage all to come and join us at the Port Harcourt International Trade Fair, which is coming up. We have free entrepreneurial trainings and seminars in digitalization and business and how to grow and sustain business. We are also willing to give MBA Port Harcourt branch a special day at the fair to come and interact with exhibitors and participants and advance the collaboration between MBA and the business community. We as a Chamber of Commerce, Port Harcourt Chamber of Commerce, are the mouthpiece of the business community in River State and indeed the Niger Delta area. So congratulations, Madam Chair, for this Law Week. I'm not sure we're going to say you're outgoing yet, because we still have some time to be here. Thank you for inviting us, and we look forward to a robust partnership between MBA Port Harcourt branch and Port Harcourt Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines, and Agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam President. At this point, we will take another goodwill message from Are Olumiyiwa Akimboro, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, SCIAB UK. FCI, MC, Life Venture, Past General Secretary, Nigerian Bar Association. Please let's put our hands together.
Your Excellency, the Governor of the Rivers State, ably represented by the Permanent Secretary, my Lord, the Chief CJ of Rivers State, my Lords here present, the President African Bar Association, who I just saw walked in now, my Chief Eddie Mark, the Chairman of the occasion, my President, Chief Okewani, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, DSSR. I greet you. My brother and the keynote speaker, Shin Abimbola, when Moga was introducing you, I was just smiling to myself that we perform better than expected. It's in our DNA that we do that. And I'm not surprised. I'm very impressed that within this short time that was informed, they could do so excellently. My brother, thank you very much. But before I go on, you see, we don't appreciate what we have. Looking at this topic, we need to appreciate the thinking behind it. And for that, I want us to celebrate the chairman of the Nigeria Bar Association Port Harcourt branch with a very, very loud round of applause. The reason why I say this, the place of Port Harcourt in Nigeria is very unique. A good percentage of the economy of Nigeria, of the survival of Nigeria, rests within Port Harcourt. And if Port Harcourt is not abreast of the cutting-edge desire in legal practice now, then something is wrong. So for her to have sat down and look at our parties here and design this topic to open our minds and to also put us instead so that we can prepare ourselves to take over our rightful position, please help me give another round of applause. The chairman of the organizing committee, my brother Tunye Kukubo, I want to thank you also, because I know that you must have been part of the people that designed this topic, pass it on to the chairman before it was accepted. And thank you for thinking this out. And please, let's celebrate him, Tunye Kukubo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. I want to say that I'm highly honored and consider myself privileged to have been invited for this occasion, and also principally for turning up. Honestly, initially, when I got the invitation, I was supposed to be speaking tomorrow. So I said, okay, because of hopping here and there, you know, some of us that have engaged ourselves in some businesses that are very complicated these days, I said, maybe tomorrow I will come around. But when I look at the topic, I said, opening ceremony, keynote speaker, Shin Abimbola, is always a delight listening to my brother. This topic is something that will not only benefit everybody, I need to be benefited myself. And moreover, when you think you have a dream of what you think the Bar Association should be, every opportunity to put yourself in a position to have at the back of your mind a way to act. So I took the advantage to come and see, listen, meet with people, and understand where we need to be, not only in Port Harcourt, but as a bar, to get all together. So thank you for inviting me. It's my pleasure being here. I'm not going to dash in and dash out. I will stay true. I will sleep in Port Harcourt and eat the good foods of Port Harcourt. I will spend time and interact with everybody as much as I can, because I believe that the strength of Nigeria Bar Association is the result in this place. I love Port Harcourt. Thank you for inviting me. Every time that something is happening in Port Harcourt, please don't forget to invite me. Why? You don't want me to come around? You're tired of my face? I know that this is about my thought of what visit to Port Harcourt this year. I will still come back before December, before the end of December. So don't be tired. You will see me more. And next year, I'm sure that I'll be here more and more. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you for this well-organized Law Week. And again, one thing that is unique, I want to congratulate all of us. I want to celebrate all of us is that we are doing this Law Week in your own building. Give yourself a round of applause for that. It's hardly happened anywhere. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's put our hands together again for him. At this point, we would listen to my Lord, the Chief Judge of Rivers State. Please, let's put our hands together as we make welcome for his goodwill, the Honorable Justice Simeon Chibuzo Amadi, BSS ROS.
His Excellency, the Governor of Rivers State, ably represented by the Solicitor General and Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Justice, the chairman of this occasion, Okewale, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of Council, Rivers State University, my brother judges here present, our keynote speaker, the representative of the Commissioner of Police, Rivers State Police Command, the President, African Bar Association, learned senior advocates of Nigeria here present, members of the bar, ladies and gentlemen. Let me preface my goodwill message by thanking the chairman of the occasion for identifying the fact that we are lagging behind. Let us not deceive ourselves. I mean, both the judiciary and the bar, we are lagging behind in this area. I'm happy with the keynote speaker for all that he has stated about technology and judicial process. I also thank the chairman of the occasion, because few things I would have said, he apologized. There's always one thing, when a good thing is about to happen, Satan always creep in. Yes, because when I was given the letter of invitation to this Law Week, and I saw the topic that was chosen, I was very, very impressed. And I told judges that all of us will be here because we just had our All Nigerian Judges Conference. This particular topic, though not in the way it is, was one of the things we dealt with. And digitalization of the judiciary is one legacy the present Chief Justice of Nigeria wants to leave behind. And every state is struggling to make sure it cue in. It will also impress that just on Tuesday last week, the chairman of NJC on technology, digitalization of judiciary, the Chief Justice of Borno State was here. He came with the committee on my invitation. and we had to see the governor because a huge amount of money is involved. Judiciary cannot do it alone. So we paid courtesy call on the governor, and he took time to explain the implications of what we're about to embark. But sorry, our plans, while we are planning, working hard to catch up, you are aware our own budget, River State, some states have presented their budget and have been approved. You know what is happening? So up to now, no budget yet. We pray that things will take good shape so that what we plan to take off next year, we will embark on it. Having said that, let me say this. The theme of the Nigerian Bar Association MBA Port Harcourt branch annual week, cutting-edge legal practice, catching up with innovations and reinvention for societal impact, is undoubtedly a reflection that the practice of law is at the cutting edge. That is, at its innovative or groundbreaking approach to legal practice in line with the global narrative. We live in an age of digital technology and artificial intelligence, AI. Nations of the world are moving away from traditional approaches of the past in response to society's change and changing circumstances, and the legal profession is not an exception. The need for the legal profession to catch up with innovations and reinventions in the practice of law for societal impact is no longer an optional. It has become an ethical imperative or necessity because lawyers are the burden bearers, innovators, and contributors to modern civilization in promoting the overall good of the nation. The use of technological innovations and reinvention, especially artificial intelligence and automation by members of the legal profession, frees lawyers from the rigors of complex, high-value, and time-consuming work with speed, efficiency, accuracy, and result-oriented outcomes. Document review, contract analysis, legal research, and case outcome prediction, client engagement, and decision-making or legal advice. As the legal profession integrates AI technology in legal practice, members should also be mindful of the emerging legal and ethical issues. Our keynote speaker touched on this. Legal issues don't just get it and cut and paste. The organization of annual week seminars or workshops, such as the MBA Port Harcourt Branch Law Week, is necessary or mandatory to equip lawyers with knowledge of current development in modern legal practice. Rule 11, sub 1 of the Rule of Professional Conduct for Legal Practitioners 2023 provides for mandatory continuing legal professional development as follows. I quote, "A lawyer who wishes to carry on practice as a legal practitioner shall participate in and certify the requirement of the mandatory continuing professional development CPD program operated by the Nigerian Bar Association." I'm sure the number of members of the Nigerian Bar Association Port Harcourt branch is more than this. It's more than this, but look at what we have in the hall. In Rule 11, Sub 2B of the aforesaid rule, continued professional development CPD program includes lectures, seminars, workshops, conferences on law approved by the Nigerian Bar Association. The River State Judiciary highly commends the executive of the Nigerian Bar Association of Port Harcourt branch, particularly the chairman, for organizing this annual week on topical or contemporary issues in the legal profession. Administration of justice is necessarily or unavoidably predicated on the complementary partnership of the bar and the bench. Therefore, as the bar seeks to catch up with innovations and reinventions in legal practice for societal impact, the bench, judicial officers of the Rivers State Judiciary, under my watch, and the judiciaries of other states of Nigeria are also catching up with modern innovations and reinventions in the administration of justice. And legal practitioners in Rivers State can bear testimony to this. As you engage in your activities or event, I wish you an intellectually and socially enjoyable sessions. Thank you and God bless.
I think we can give my Lord another round of applause. At this juncture, my lords, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we would like to hear an address by our special guest of honor, the Executive Governor of Rivers State, Sir Siminalayi Fubara, as ably represented by the Solicitor General and Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Justice, Dr. Vera Sam Dike. Please, a round of applause for her. I don't mean to be a stickler for protocol, but protocol demands that we rise while the governor approaches the rostrum.
I was just telling him that they are seeing me as Solicitor General and not Governor. Okay. I will just read the address. I'm an obedient servant. I will just read the address. I'm representing the governor and I will not add anything. My Lord, the Honorable Chief Judge of Rivers State, the Honorable Justice Simeon C. Amadi, and your brother judges, the chairman of MBA, Port Harcourt branch, Mrs. Cordelia U.A.K., the chairman of this noble occasion, Okewale, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, and Pro-Chancellor, Chairman of Council, Rivers State University. The keynote speaker, Oluseun Abimbola, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Let me stand on existing protocol. I bring you warm greetings from Rivers State, from His Excellency, Sir Siminalayi Fubara, GSSRS, on whose behalf I address this august audience. It is without doubt that the world has indeed become a global village. People at different ends of the earth can hold a meeting, share a smile, have a handshake, discuss ideas, influence each other, and even destroy one another jointly or severally because of information and communication technology. ICT has enabled an interconnectivity in many ways beyond what is imaginable. Every facet of human endeavor, from finance, health, manufacturing, aviation, security, agriculture, tourism and hospitality, fashion, music, art, law, etc., has felt the impact of ICT and will continue to do so because of its limitless capability, innovations, and the lightning space of technological change. Law, according to different schools of thought, is a universal moral code based on reason and human nature, a command from a sovereign to a subordinate, what the court says and nothing more pretentious, and a tool for social engineering. In the face of these diverse opinions, one thing is certain. It is lawyers who are saddled with the onerous task and responsibility of ensuring the protection of human rights, drafting the statutes, conducting advocacy and adjudication, and creating legal doctrines to enable certainty, accessibility, consistency, and reviews of the law. Generally, the legal profession has often been touted for being conservative, an embodiment of traditions that is averse to change, from the dress code in courtrooms, language of the law, and values or ethics. The same is also applicable to the tools of the profession, particularly its reliance on the hardcover law books, reports, articles, and manuscripts, and the use of longhand in taking and keeping records. However, while other jurisdictions seem to be leapfrogging in the ICT race to keep up with technological innovations as it concerns the legal profession locally, we seem to be imitating the tortoise. The theme for this year's Law Week of the Nigerian Bar Association Port Harcourt branch, cutting edge legal practice, catching up with innovations and reinventions of societal change, could therefore not have come at a better time today, because as critical stakeholders in the administration of justice, the protection of various societal interests, legal practitioners, particularly in River State, need to jolt themselves to the realization that ICT is the next thing to the air we breathe, with an awakening for a commitment for self-improvement and upgrade in knowledge, use and appreciation of ICT with its attendant and ancillary benefits of easing and accelerating the preparation of processes and documents, access to research materials, interaction with clients, other practitioners, and the courts, record keeping, improved intellectual capacity and capability, and also citing or having appearances in several platforms available on the internet, particularly the social media, for global presence and outreach, using tools such as artificial intelligence and search engine optimization, among others. As a government, apart from enabling the electronic filing of court processes, we are also committed to easing justice delivery in our courts through the use of information and communication technology. We are also in touch with the reality of the digital world and are ready to groom our youths in the use of ICT, as approved by the State Executive Council on the soon to commence provision of computer-based tests, CBT, and ICT centers in our secondary schools in all the 23 local government areas of River State. While plans are in top gear to digitize other sectors in governance, including the one-stop center of River State Investment Promotion Agency to promote the ease of doing business and investing in River State. No society can survive without law, and indeed lawyers. It is therefore imperative that the law and lawyers evolving along with the changes in society and being versatile to meet with challenges of maintaining a peaceful and orderly society, or we perish. This administration pledges to continue to partner with the Nigerian Bar Association, Port Harcourt branch, and its sister branches in Rivers State in the administration of justice and the protection of the rights of citizens. On behalf of Rivers State, I wish you an enriching and fruitful law week and a blessed Christmas season. I hereby declare the law week of the Nigerian Bar Association Port Harcourt branch open. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Another round of applause for His Excellency, please. His Excellency, having declared the Law Week open, it is now my pleasure to invite our chief host to come and take over the segment on special presentations and awards. So without further ado, our branch chairman, Mrs. Cordelia Eke, please come forward and discharge your responsibilities. A round of applause for her, please. Bring it.
Your Excellency, we are indeed very grateful. We thank the state government for pledging to continue to support the bar. During our law week, sorry, that's a legal year. Permit me to step down here. During the legal year ceremony in our speech, I stated that if we're within our powers, based on all we have gone through in the state, we would indeed have given the governor a Nobel Prize for Peace. However, it is not within my power as NBA chairman, nor within the powers of this branch. What we can ever do is give you our little appreciation to show that we value His Excellency and all he has done for Rivers State. So, Your Excellency, we will forward. ESCO members, can you join me here? Branch officers of NBA Port Harcourt. So, Your Excellency, sir, we present this Outstanding Personality Award. This is presented to His Excellency Sir Siminalayi Fubara, GSSRS, Executive Governor of Rivers State, for your sterling leadership, contributions to the justice sector, peace and development in Rivers State. Dated this 8th day of December, 2025. This from NBA Port Harcourt branch. In the same vein, I cannot command, I cannot order, I cannot instruct. My president keeps telling me, you are directing. I am not directing this time. I just want to appeal to my Lord, the Chief Judge of Rivers State, to kindly do us the honor of stepping forward. With your leave, sir. My Lord, this one is special because since I assumed office, this administration assumed office, you've been a father to us. You have accommodated us. We know we give you a lot of headache, and we will still give you more. We make a lot of demands. We still have some on the table and requests, but for what you have done thus far, we thought it's necessary to recognize all that. And this is presented to the Honorable Chief Judge of Rivers State in recognition of your distinguished leadership, unwavering commitment to advancing justice and strengthening the judiciary and the legal profession in Rivers State. We have one or two more presentations, yes. And I'll call for the next one, the chairman of the Law Week Planning Committee.
It always gives me great pleasure to not just to seek guidance, but also to have somebody much more senior that I can call up to have a brief chat with. And the person we're going to give this award to, just so that he can put it, when you go to his office, there are several of them. He can just find one small place to put this on behalf of the MBA Port Harcourt branch. He's no less a person than my big brother, our past president, past chair. There are so many past that I'll just stop at that of the branch. Honorable Oke Wale, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Distinguished Service Star of Rivers State, Pro-Chancellor, Rivers State University. As a token of our appreciation of your distinguished service to the bar and outstanding contribution as chairman to the MBA Port Harcourt branch Law Week. We're grateful, sir.
And we have heard a very illuminating, very interesting keynote speech today at very short notice. We are grateful to our keynote speaker from our heart. I say, from my heart at least, I say thank you very much for saving us and giving us such a wonderful keynote speech. And I'm going to call my boss and mentor to properly thank you and appreciate you, His Royal Highness, David Serena Dokubosbeef, Chairman of the MBA Mentorship Committee. I'm not mentioning his other titles. He has so many. So please, Your Highness, you have to do it in royal style. So let me hand over to you.
Your Excellency, the Governor of Rivers State, my Lord, the Chief Judge of Rivers State, all protocol duly observed. This is a big one. You will have noticed when our keynote speaker was delivering, Halfway through, I got up, not to interrupt him, but I walked up to our president, Okewale, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, to thank him. I said to him in a colloquial language, "Oh boy, you choose well for us." He chose well. I listened to you intently, and I want to borrow from somebody who's called Reverend Copplestone. He was reviewing a book in philosophy that was at the University of Ife, Great Ife. Great! Are you not here? Whoa, I see you're throwing your face away. Is it my fault that you didn't go to Ife? Frederick Copplestone was reviewing a philosophy book, and he said this, and I'm quoting, "Meticulous power, synthetic stylistic, balance of emphasis, and breadth of appreciation. The style is clear, flexible, and interesting. I hereby adopt that mutatis mutandis." Learned Senior Advocate Oluseun Mobolaji Abimbola, we're very pleased with you. We're particularly delighted and impressed. You are true to type. You answered the dictation of our president. And for that, the Nigerian Bar Association, ably headed by, no, when the chair finishes, ably headed by my own personal person, my sister, my professional daughter, and mentee, our chair. The Bar Association appreciates you, and by virtue of the powers conferred on me, albeit temporarily, we hereby award you with this, symptomized by the plaque. Thank you very much. Thank you. Please, Oliver Twist, next year we will come knocking again. Thank you very much. Thank you.
My lords, Leonard Silks, Leonard Seniors, and colleagues, for those who are shopping for CLE points, if you see this QR code on the screen, it will take you to where you can fill out your ICLE details. I'm the scapegoat. I've scanned. Let me see what comes out, Madam Chair. But I stand corrected. What it promotes is the program of events. But the time has come for our vote of thanks. And to do that will be none other than the CLE Law Week Planning Committee Chairman. My favorite joke to crack about him is that he's very down to earth. Tanya Krukubo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria.
The ably represented here by the Solicitor General, Minister of Justice, Rivers State. My Lord, the Honorable Judge, need me to stand on already established protocols. Even though I hear we're not supposed to do that now, I'm still for what the appropriate response would be. I should do what? I should go and climb upstairs. I think I'm okay here. My lords, I want to, on behalf of the Central Planning Committee, of the organizing committee of this Law Week, express the profound thanks of, first of all, the Executive Bar Association Port Harcourt branch, ably led by the Amazon herself, Mrs. Cordelia Eke, in us fit and proper to even make the efforts This was not one man's effort. If you permit me, I would certainly like to call on members of the CPC who are here to join me here, because after today, you probably would not see us if they're in the hall. CPC members, can you join me? George Rabo, yes, Dr. Peter Ayogo. As many of you that are here, please, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, these are just a tip of the team that worked overnights, leaving court assignments and what have you, just to ensure that we have what we have today. On their behalf, oh yes, Valentina, yes, one of the powerhouses of this committee. It will be 2 or 3 days of thought-provoking discussions on issues that affect all of us. We encourage you, for those, as many of you that can stay back after this short thanks, so please do so. We have breakout sessions. There will be one here and another at the banquet hall upstairs. So it's essentially a bouquet of activities. Pick the one you like to sit down and listen to. Participate. Let us find ways of actually gaining something from the topic of the theme of this week. And more importantly, the very seminal paper presented by the keynote speaker, our very own Oluseun Mobolaji Abimbola SAN. So we leave this week with something. I dare say, I would also like to thank especially my Lord the Chief Judge. My Lord, you have been very close to the bar. And it's evident by the participation of members of the Rivers State Judiciary. Indeed, most of the sessions have been chaired by members of the bench, and for that, we're extremely grateful. We know that they would be better served sitting as we speak, hearing matters affecting members of the public, but they found time to be here with us. We're so grateful to your Lordship. For our distinguished colleagues, I just want to share in the comments of President. When the protocol of the Chief Judge, they told me that they were I knew that when Milord comes in, the very first thing Milord would say, which has always been our albatross, is attendance. And I just like members of the bar to understand that it is a big deal for the courts, for my Lord the Chief Judge of Rivers State, to give us court-free days. It is a big deal, particularly when we know that really and truly it's discretionary. So when we get those opportunities, can we all please utilize them and be present at those events? It doesn't portray us in good light when events are organized, efforts have been deployed, we've met with the judiciary, the office, the Honorable Chief Judge magnanimously gives us a date, and people are not around. So when that announcement was made, I looked back, I said, well, at least it's sizable. And I'm grateful that we didn't have that child side, but it's a learning, we have to continue to do better. On behalf of all of us here, we say a big thank you. Please sit back, relax. Let's all have a stimulating and educative experience. And by the way, courtesy of the chair, most of these sessions also have item 7 accompanying it. Thank you very much. We're grateful, sir.
Let's have the chairman of the Port Harcourt branch, the chairman of the occasion, the governor, CJ, and the other judges step out for a group photograph, please.
Branch officer, please join the photograph, please. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are now moving swiftly into the first plenary session for the day. The day has been fast spent, but I beg you to still give us some of your attention. To introduce the formalities, I'd like to introduce the session coordinator. Dr. Donald Atogo. A round of applause for him as he comes forward, please. He is to coordinate the first plenary session for today. Donald, over to you.
Once again, I welcome all of us here present to this opening session of the MBA Port Harcourt Branch Law Week for 2025. This session is going to be very stimulating and exciting. The panelists are persons with experience, and they'll be here to do justice to the various questions that we're going to put across to them. Law is wide, law is varied, and we're going to learn so much listening to these panelists that are going to come forth in the next few minutes.
we stand on the existing protocol. I will start by first introducing the chair for this session. If we turn to page 21 of our program, we see that the two panelists for today are Mrs. M. Essien, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, and Chief Emeka Obegulu, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. However, both of them are unavoidably absent. And in their stead, we have two great personalities who are going to speak to us and who are going to illuminate our mind concerning the issues of law that we're going to talk about. Before we do that, I would like to give a brief on the chair of this session. She's no other person than Honorable Justice Elsie Thompson. Can we please give her a big round of applause? As she moves towards her seat, I'll crave your indulgence to take a little look at her profile. Honorable Justice Nwanwuri Thompson is a judge of the High Court of Rivers State of Nigeria. She earned her Bachelor of Laws degree, LLB with honors, from Queen Mary College, University of London, and was admitted to the English bar in 1984, and then the Nigerian bar in 1985. I think that deserves an applause. Prior to her appointment as a High Court judge, Justice Elsie Thompson was in active private legal practice for 20 years, working extensively on human rights cases, especially women's rights. She held several leadership positions within the International Federation of Women Lawyers, FIDA, including country's vice chair, that's the national president for Nigeria, and the regional vice president for Africa. That also deserves another round of applause. On 27 July 2010, Justice Thompson became the first Nigerian to be elected to the African Court on Human and People's Rights for a 6-year term and served as vice president of the court from 2014 to 2016. In 1998, she was named one of Junior Chambers International's 10 Outstanding Young Persons of the Year. Justice Thompson is a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, United Kingdom, and a member of the Honorable Society of Gray's Inn. She is a resource person at seminars and conferences and a mentor to many young lawyers, having presented several papers on women and children's rights, as well as other topical legal issues. May I crave your indulgence to introduce before you seated Honorable Justice E.N. Thompson. A very big round of applause. May I also crave your indulgence to call to the stage a man that the MC before me just introduced as somebody very down to earth. May I crave your indulgence once more to introduce and call to the stage Mr. Toye Kukrubo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria.
Tonye Krukrubo is a partner in the firm and heads the firm's office of Aluko and Oyebode in Port Harcourt and co-chairs the firm's international trade practice group. He handles complex instructions from diverse clientele and advises on commercial transactions, banking, immigration, regulatory compliance, taxation, employment law, oil and gas, environmental law, energy, and natural resources. I thought that deserves a round of applause. He also advises on shipping and other aspects of law practice in Nigeria. He holds a master's degree in laws with a focus on international business law from the University of Liverpool. He has been recommended by the Legal 500 Europe, Middle East, and Africa for his litigation experience. He has also been recommended by Who is Who Legal as a lawyer with great interpersonal skills and excellent expertise in the field of labor and employment. He has spoken at several various conferences where he shared insights on various aspects of legal practice, particularly the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, AFTA. He has been the secretary of the section on legal practice of the NBA and chair of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, UK, Nigeria branch, Port Harcourt chapter. He was once the chairman of the Continuing Legal Education CLE Committee of NBA Port Harcourt branch, amongst others. He is currently the vice chairman, section legal practice of the NBA. May I crave your indulgence once more to introduce Mr. Tonye Krukrubo. Please, a big round of applause. And finally, so that we fill the third seat, may I invite our Rep. Akimboro. As Are Akimboro approaches the stage, I would like to take a quick shot at his bio data. Are Olumuyiwa Akimboro was born on 21st November 1965 to the family of late Senator Chief Ademola Hezekiah Akimboro and late Chief Mrs. Hannah Adefunke Akimboro of Kuta Kingdom in Ayedire local government area of Osun State. He obtained a Bachelor of Laws degree with honors from Lagos State University, LASU in 1990 and was called to the Nigerian bar in 1991. He began his legal career in several reputable establishments, including the Plateau State Ministry of Justice, Femi Lalehi and Co., and Adetokunbo Kayode SAN and Co. He is the founder and principal partner of Akimboro and Co., with over 3 decades legal practice experience. Are Akimboro has held numerous esteemed positions, including membership of the FCT Judicial Service Committee, the University of Benin's Governing Council, and the Federal Judicial Service Commission. He was appointed a member of the Federal Judicial Service Commission on 4th July 2013 by former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. His service to the Nigerian Bar Association includes roles as Secretary and Chairman of the NBA Abuja branch, and he served as past General Secretary of the NBA, where he reorganized administrative structures, improved coordination among branches, enhanced staff welfare, and set new benchmarks for transparency and efficiency. I think he deserves a big round of applause. I conclude by saying
He is a National Executive Committee Life member and holds a lifetime membership as a life bencher in the body of benchers, Nigeria's highest legal decision-making body. I hereby present to you Are Olumuyiwa Akimboro. You're welcome, sir. At this point, I would like to hand the microphone over to the chair of the session, Honorable Justice Ian Thompson. Your Lordship.
Good afternoon, my brother judges, Leonard Sills, present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. For this session, I think I'm the only one who didn't run away. Because even up to the moderator also isn't here. Be that as it may, we will proceed. We've been talking about technology, and technology, for me, there's no alternative. If you steal my phone, you've stolen half of my judgments, both written and unwritten. Everything is on my phone because I'm trying not to carry laptops and all that. However, for us to really enjoy technology, we must make money. And that is why the showcase session is important. The legal practitioner's remuneration order is one of the ways MBA is trying to regulate the remuneration so that we don't shortchange ourselves and some people do not, in a bid to make money, reduce the integrity of the bar. So the Nigerian Bar Association is trying to have an equalization fund, sort of where everybody charges the same thing. The problem we have, this is not the first time we've had an order. I know there was the one we were doing when you're doing land cases, whether it's 10% or something like that. I remember I used to use it when clients would argue with me. I'll bring it out and show them that is the normal thing. So the question is not whether we need the order, whether it will enhance our work. The problem is how to implement, how to make sure that everybody obeys the order. And that is what we're here to discuss. I understand that the MBA has set up or trying to set up what they call a mechanism to ensure that the lawyers comply with the law by making I don't know whether that MBA of the lawyer. So the payment goes to the MBA. MBA takes a percentage, calculating that what the person has charged is correct, and then gives the lawyer what is due him. I'm not too clear, but that's what I heard the process is. By the way, I know about this because I'm still in the MBA platform. I get emails and things because I have always been a barman. And I'll continue to be. So I see where, in fact, there is a deadline now that branches that have not complied must do so ASAP and so on. The chairman of that committee, unfortunately, is not here. He would have been the one to give a better understanding of what we're actually doing. But Are Akimboro has volunteered to deal with the issue. So I will start with him to explain exactly what the MBA is planning to do. Ara, please.
Thank you, the chairman of the session, my lord. My colleagues, good afternoon. I think the starting point is for us to understand that there is a problem when it comes to the dignity and also the well-being of us as lawyers. The issue is straightforward and simple. There is no standard to how we charge. Everybody is at liberty to charge whatever they want to charge. And this has led to a lot of issues of unhealthy competition, undercutting ourselves, lack of cohesiveness, and a lot of other things that are unprintable about our profession. At the end of the day, who suffers for it? It is we, the lawyers. We keep talking about young lawyers. How do we empower them? How do they stand up? At the end of the day, when there is no way to support them in a way they can charge for little instructions that comes their way, how will they build a practice? So we want to understand that the idea behind the elimination order is fantastic. And like I've said in several opportunities I've had to speak about it, it may not be the perfect document. It may not be the most elegant as it stands now. But I must say, it's a good starting point for us to start building from. With time, we keep modifying, keep adjusting till we get to the promised land. But as a matter of urgency, it is necessary for us to be able to sustain the dignity of our profession and also to understand that legal profession is not, it's a business. It's a business, and we have to run it as such. Everywhere we go to, the estate valuers, the accountant, they have skill that they use. And I don't want to preempt, because I learned, but let me first of all tell you that I'm a volunteer in this case. So I was drafted here, and I said, as a Boy Scout, I was a Boy Scout, and our motto is ever ready. So wherever you find yourself, and moreover, if you have attained a stage that you're a senior advocate of Nigeria, if the court say, come and be an amicus, will you say, my lord, they didn't give me the file before coming to court, so you must be able to say something. But I'm not only going to say something, I think I will be able to communicate on this. I agree with the idea behind the arbitration order. I believe strongly in it that it's a good negotiation document for us as lawyers. One fact that we should not lose sight of, which I know maybe, I don't know where my friend is coming from, is that I don't know the fear of the big men about this elimination order, because it's clearly stated that it's the minimum you can charge. So if you try to charge $1 billion, so far it's an agreement, the client can pay you, collect your money. Nobody is saying you should not. But what we are saying is that don't go below this threshold. That is what the elimination order is saying. And the threshold may not be good enough for the big men, but I'm sure that is good enough for some of us who are still building our practice, some of us that are coming up, and particularly our young ones. So let's embrace it. let's look at it as a working document. It's a good negotiation document. You see, we all deal with clients. When they come to us, they will want to push you to the wall. They will bring every sentiment in this world to make sure that they don't pay you. But by now, what this revision order has done for us is that all you need to do is just bring a copy out and show it to them and say, it's not my fault. I would have obliged you. In fact, I wish I could, but this is a professional ethics matter. If I charge you less, I may be falling short of my professional responsibility, and I may be punished for it. So we have a good negotiation document, and we need to use it at all. I think for now, for this session, let's leave it at that. Let me see what is coming from Tony.
Thank you, Aaron. You're running away from the issue I raised. The issue of MBA,
yes,
seen as agent.
Oh, okay,
That
okay.
you pay, the money is paid through the MBA. MBA takes an administrative fees and then gives the lawyer the other one. So MBA is agent and police and everything. So MBA has been called to the practice of law.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I didn't get that part of the question. And I want to say that, you see, when we look at the elimination order, one part, and I said it in my introductory part, that it may not be the most elegant document that we have now, but it's a good starting point. One area that we should not lose sight of is that all these things that we are complaining about, when I think there's a saying that says that half bread is better than none. And the bread that we have now, it's not even half. It's a lot better than the bread that we are used to. Let me now come to the part of MBA taking a percentage of it. First of all, I want to tell you that there is no part of the elimination order that stipulates that MBA should take a percentage of it. But the truth is that you need MBA also to help you in the midwifing and making sure that as a transitional implementation mechanism, you succeed in getting your funds at this stage. Before we get used to it and we keep modifying. Now, we do transaction with our banks, and the banks take charges. And that is because the bank is an intermediary between you, who is their depositor and customer, and somebody maybe who is receiving for them. They take charges. Now, MBA will midwife this money for you. They will be, and part that we should not overlook is that it gives you a lot of security for your fund. When the client comes to you and starts all the drama of persuasion, and you bring out this revision order, and you further tell him that this money is not even going to come to me because for enforcement purposes, implementation purposes, it's going to the bar and to the secretariat of the MBA. The client will be convinced that there is no way you can circumvent. So I think at the interim, and for the purpose of implementation and stabilization, we need to allow a system that will allow our clients and the general public to get used to the new development that has just come. It is our own interest. I can tell you for free that until very recently, I cannot recollect when you actually have charged, I see 10% here, 10% there on any issue. If a client comes to you and tell you and beg you and say, you take 4%. But now, maybe it will go to MB and maybe we take maybe a percentage of it. You are taking 9%. I think it may not be perfect yet, but I think it's an improvement on where we were. So let's embrace it. And I think that we should also understand that in the process of handling these funds, the bar also will incur some expenses. There will be bank charges, there will be the transfer charges, there will be this and that. And moreover, the fact that the bar is receiving on your behalf does not make the bar a practitioner. Whether we like it or not, even without the bar collecting it, the money still goes to a bank. So the bank, because the bank is collecting money on your behalf from your client, does it make the bar and the bank a legal practitioner? The answer is capital no. So let's start tuning our mind to see the bar or the mechanism in place now as a collecting mechanism for the implementation in the interim until we do further fine-tuning. You see, Rome is not built in a day. You cannot expect perfection from a system that we are trying to create in our own interest. Another administration will come, another committee will come, we'll keep improving on it. So I will say, I disagree totally that the bar collecting money or maybe taking transaction charges on it makes them practice of law, that they're practicing law. That does not make them a partner in the fund assessing, but everywhere, anywhere in the world, people pay administrative charges. And we are used to payment of administrative charges. So why is it that now, something that will benefit us, we are restricting it? Let's think about it. And moreover, when the money comes to the bar, it's not going to the pocket of your chairman. It's not going to the pockets of the executive. It will still be used for the purpose of the bar. So it's a win-win situation for us. So please, let's encourage ourselves. Let's encourage ourselves and see that we do the right thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andre. I'll come back to you later on the fact that he's not going to the pocket of the chairman. Mr. Attorney Kurubo, if you think that the position RA is taking or what the position the MBA has taken is not appropriate, what is the solution you're profiling for the implementation of the order? I understand that there's no problem with the order. Is implementation. What are you proposing?
Thank you very much. And just to say to my brother Silk that we were drafted. So we were all drafted. And it's not necessarily that I'm taking a radically difficult position or different position on this issue. But I will answer a question, Madam Chair, first, just in one sentence, in my own humble view. And that is to ensure, to convert what we have now to an actual law. Because there's been some confusion and concern around what the remuneration order actually is. It's that scenario of, is it a bird? Is it a bat? You don't know if it's an animal or a bird. So, and I'll explain why I think that passing a law on it may just be one way out. I'm not going to go into the details of the provisions. I agree with my brother Silk that they start, but the question is why now? Why start something when you know that it is essentially still a working document? I mean, to borrow from my esteemed RS position. And I'm not here also saying that that is what the esteemed Obegelu's panel has categorized the order as. But essentially, we have a situation where it does not appear that a lot of effort was put into this, the implications of the order itself. So let me give you a quick scenario. Mr. Kunle, and with your kind permission, Madam Chair, I wrote something down, and as mentioned, because I wasn't sure what the form of this discussion was going to be, I thought it was going to be a presentation, but just briefly. Mr. Kunle, a diligent legal practitioner in a city in Nigeria, has long been frustrated by the disparity in his professional earnings. On the same street as his modest law office operates Nnamdi, a thriving estate agent who effortlessly earns up to 20% commission on property deals, while Kunle struggles to secure his 10% legal fee for documentation and advisory services. This imbalance has fueled Kunle's enthusiasm for the recently introduced NBA protocol on the implementation of the Remuneration Order 2023, which promises to curb undercutting lawyers their rightful fees. The NBA protocol I'm referencing here, I believe, is the one by this branch. Determined to enforce the protocol, Kunle insists on compliance in a property transaction worth ₦1 billion involving his client, Alhaji Musa, a prominent businessman. However, tension arises when Kunle requests Musa's payment details. Please understand. Musa's payment details for submission to the NBA branch as part of the verification process. Musa vehemently, that is the client now, objects, arguing that Kunle is relying on an instrument that is not a law to cause him to disclose sensitive financial information, thereby breaching his confidentiality guaranteed under Rule 19 of the Rules of Professional Conduct, 2023. Musa is so upset that he's thinking of meeting another lawyer, this is the client now, for cheaper fees. That would answer your question, sir, around what the primary objective of the order was, which was to prevent undercutting. And so Musa is thinking along that line. Musa fears that linking his identity to the transaction in NBA records could expose his financial capacity and compromise his privacy rights under Section 37 of the 1999 Constitution. Musa worries that he does not know who ultimately in the NBA Secretariat would see his documents. He has been told it will be a non-lawyer, that is borne out by the protocol, and has been informed that there is no data protection officer of the NBA branch. Later on, if the chair permits, there's a current decision of the Federal High Court, Kanu, on the Data Protection Act and how banks have to be careful once you get the data of an account holder. He's worried about security. Musa is also worried because in the past, he had to face this issue with Kunle for a much smaller transaction. So it's not necessarily the big transactions also, even the smaller ones. Kunle is frustrated and feels stranded in his practice as a lawyer. Kunle is even more worried that after collecting 1% processing fee, he has to wait for at least 2 days before receiving his own fees that he worked for. For the job he did, he has to wait for the MBA 2 days. That is if Kunle does not have any problem with the MBA chairman. Meanwhile, and as the scenario presents here, Kunle has just had a quarrel with that chairman and the secretary of the branch over a non-related issue. So he's justifiably concerned. On top of that, Alhaji is adamant that he does not want to see any other stamp or signature on the transaction document. So, Mr. Chair, the question is this. We have something called the Sheriff and Civil Process Act that regulates how you enforce judgments, allows for garnishee proceedings and all whatnot. I think part of the challenge we have with the order is one, it is not, I don't, and I stand to be corrected, and I honestly, I hope that someone who knows better is able to explain. I don't perceive it as a law. I see a concern that a client would have to say to me, first and foremost, are you aware that come 1st of January 2026, the taxman cometh? If I'm to pay this money to the MBA branch, who pays the tax for that money? That's a question. It may virtually be a simple answer. I don't know. When you say it is a processing fee, how would it read in my own books when it leaves my account? So, Mr. Kukubo, you've done this mortgage agreement for me. You say that your fee is 2 million naira, but you're saying that it needs to be paid to MBA Port Harcourt branch. Okay, please go and pay. But you know what? There's a clause there that says that it's something called an NDA. Because of the special nature of this transaction, we are not too comfortable with it going into the public fora. But you've convinced us that we should do so because that is what your regulation says. By the way, is anybody in the MBA a data protection officer? How safe is our data when that information gets to them? These are burning questions. And to answer the last question you said, my learned brother Silk, yes, the banks receive money, but the banks do not pretend that they have power to sanction us if we don't deposit that money there. What we have here is an order that says that if you don't comply, at some point you'll be sanctioned. Indeed, we now hear, at least if what we have read, anything to go by, I think it's in Ogun State or one of the Southwest states, the chairman of that branch came out and indicated that about 5 persons or so are going to be prosecuted or penalized for non-conformity with the provisions of the order. That is what we're going to. The protocol of the branch in Port Harcourt talks of non-contentious matter. The order itself, I'm sure, goes beyond that. But they say it is very worrisome that I would be compelled, and please don't get me wrong. In fact, let me ask the unspoken question. I have I have no problem. I have no issues, and I'm all for a lawyer getting his due. Indeed, it is so important that we charge appropriately and are paid our worth. A few weeks ago, I was privileged to have a transaction with a lawyer in the United Kingdom. Before I could open my mouth, the lady told me, you have to pay X thousand pounds before we can even start anything. And when I asked her, she said, yes, we don't necessarily have a regulatory authority as such that insists that I must charge this particular amount. But convention and practice dictates that I do. I think we need to start imbibing some of those qualities because, as the chair has already said, this is not the first time we've had scale of charges. We've all known about the scale of charges even before this order came to be. But I think one of the fundamental problems here, I don't know, and I hope to be guided here, whether is this a law that I can convince a client to abide by? Because if it is just a regulation or if it's just a directive, I'm a bit in a difficulty as to how to proceed further. I'll pause here. Thank you.
Okay. You've given us the challenges. What solution do we have for implementation? Forget about whether it's a law or an order or a regulation. The MBA has come up with what it thinks it can do to enforce this. What do you suggest?
I suggest that, number one, and this may sound very cliche, but I think it's very appropriate here. I think we need to take this thing back. Madam Chair, when this order was presented, the direction was that there must be voting in some kind of democratic process by the various branches. So it was somewhat delegated, as I understand, from the national executive to the branches for the branch to implement as they deem appropriate. I'm sorry to say that creates a problem. So perhaps one answer should be, there should be uniformity. But I'm sorry. Madam Chair, I would say number one, it should be made a law so that it can actually be implemented as a law. Number two, there must be, if it is to be allowed to exist, which so long as the provisions appear fair and reasonable, I personally don't have any issue with, then their uniformity may not be a bad way to go, because right now, the potential for there to be confusion is very high. I'll round up by saying, and those are my two recommendations. In one of the states, and I don't want to mention a specific state because I may not be too clear on the actual state, that scenario I painted where the lawyer had a problem with the chairman existed, and the young man was pursuing the chairman all over the place for them to release his monies. Nothing can be more, so there must even be sanctions against a branch if this is to go on, to actually ensure that these funds are made available. Otherwise, my position would be one, make it a law. Number two, if you want to allow it to exist, which I have a problem with, then can it be a bit more uniform? Number three, and finally, if you look at the order itself, you will see it says that it has bands. You have different bands where different cities are placed in bands, subject to social and economic factors. Those bands, they don't seem to suggest that cities can move. In other words, they appear to be rigid and fixated. It does not appear that it takes into consideration that economic fortunes can change. I think that flexibility also should be allowed. So it should be a lot more dynamic, but I also query why now? If we know that the document was not proper and it was fraught with all kinds of issues, why now?
Okay. I want you to look at the issue raised by Krukubo, confidentiality. I mean, even as I am now, I have a land, maybe in Abuja. Nobody knows I have the land. And then I get Mr. Krukubo to do the paperwork. And then he sends it to Cordelia. The first thing will be, so Justice Thompson has this land valued this amount. And she is not the only signatory to the account. The other person too, the signatory, will now know that for Tony to collect this amount, this is how much would have been paid. Meanwhile, it's something that I would have done privately without anybody knowing. The next thing, I start getting letters from MBA for sponsorship and so on. I mean, apart from the confidentiality issue, you expose me to times are hard. So while we want to do implementation, what other ways can we do to not expose clients and lawyers to being known as rich, or, you know, before people start following me everywhere?
Thank you, my Lord. I want to start maybe on a lighter mood. My Lord, there is no law that says that my Lord should not be rich. So far, the riches are not acquired in a legal way. So if you acquire your riches and you work hard for it, Well, everybody that want to know, let them know. But that's that is me. I want to first of all see on another mode. I'm seeing another part of Toye today, which is very, very, very dramatic fictional writing. I always tell people that lawyers, we are very, very prolific. We can do anything. And he has proved it today. Please let's give me another answer that I'll pause for writing that fictional prose that he just put before us. But I want to say also one thing that we lawyers are known for. We don't focus on problems. We focus on solution. Because every time a client comes to you, he's not coming to you to come and elevate or exaggerate his problem for him. He's coming to you for a solution. And I attended Lagos, the branches in Lagos. They had a conference kind of, a town hall. And issues like this came up. And surprisingly too, it came up from people of the likes of Mr. Kukubo, the big boys. They don't want the figures to get into anybody's ears. Why are you bringing figures out? Our figures are supposed to be sacred. Unfortunately, the percentage is less than 1% of the legal practitioners in Nigeria. And that is the truth. We need to understand that while we are talking, we should be talking and be interested in the interest of the majority. I may actually fall into your group, but the truth is that my personal interests need to be subdued for the greater interest. Yes, I may have fantastic clients that like to pay me. What of the people that are coming up that needs this celebration or that to be able to give them the start, the platform to grow in life? So, you see, nothing is perfect. Like I said it at the beginning, we are not, nobody is coming out to say that regulation that is a fantastic document. It's something that we gradually be working on until we get to the promised land. But the truth is, can you, the audience now, since this Renovation Act has come in, please, who has worked with the NBA? Can anybody that worked with the NBA come up? That have paid the money to the NBA? Anybody? You. Now, did you get your money back, your own part of the money? Very well. Was it more than what you used to charge or you used to get before? Please, let's give NBA a round of applause for this. That is the summary of it all. If before, my brother here was getting 2%, 3%, in fact, 1% with a lot of prostration and kneeling down. But now, it can get 9%, at least. We're talking about more than 900% improvement on his income. That is the whole idea. Let's start from somewhere. Now, they're talking about there are no data protection officers. This came up in Lagos. I think you need to have a town hall meeting. And part of the solution that was suggested there was that the information that NBA needed from you, one, is the compliance with the Renovation Act. So there should be a certificate of compliance that I've complied and this and that. And you don't, at times, if the client objects to the disclosure of his name, you can blot it out. You do not have to disclose the particulars of the clients. But the subject, what is concerned about is that the subject matter, the value, you do not compromise on what you are supposed to charge. We don't need the data of your billionaire clients. We don't have anything to do with it. Nobody is going to go after them. What we need is that it may not be applicable to you. It's not, I don't even think the law says that everybody must go through the bar office. So far, you can collect your money. But the only thing that will be catchy there is that if somebody reports you that you are undercharging, then how do you establish that you did not undercharge? So you need to do the balancing in your own mind, whether it's more convenient to go to the MBA, which will give you a prima facie proof of compliance, or you do it in your office, and in case that there is a challenge, then you now have to be the one that will establish that you have complied. There's another thing now, I don't know when my friend was saying that compliance. I don't know whether we don't, the problem is that the people don't want to comply. But I think that when you put it on the average, you see in an in a setting, any setting, the majority will always carry the votes. If the majority want to comply, let us support them and comply. And I want us to know that at the end of the day, it is for the benefit of all of us. The law is clear. The minimum is A, B, C, and D. I'm telling you, and this is the truth. I don't think the Readmission Act will really apply to anything I'm doing personally. Because I will not, a client that I have to be struggling with pay me 3 million, 2 million, should go and find somewhere else to rest. But I understand that 1,001 of us are still looking for that 100K, not even 3 million, not even 2 million. And it's not a matter, it's not defined by age, status, or anything. Some of our colleagues, our mates, and unfortunately, me and Mr. Tukubo were mates. So some of our mates, and even me, I'm not as rich as you. So some of our mates are still far behind us, who we still need that 2-3 million. So I think in the larger interest of everybody, it is a better deal. It is good for us at this time. Let's start it. Let's keep fine-tuning. There's a standing committee on it that keeps looking at it. When the complaints come, somebody said that the chairman is avoiding paying the money. That is impossible. I think it's something, some of the stories that we, where people are not happy with the situation, they sign and create all kinds of stories. It is not possible. Any chairman that does that know that he's already is on his way out of the profession. So the chairman will be doing it, but it's our own risk. So I don't think such stories are the things that we should allow to gain traction in our system. They are not true. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Krubu, I know you, I want to give you a right of reply, but in 1 minute. And while you're doing it, it's taking place. Branches are adopting it. What should senior advocates do to ensure that everybody follows the bandwagon? Somebody called you in the UK and said it is the standard. What can senior advocates do to make it to be a standard? Because once it becomes a standard that everybody is following, then we don't need the MBA. It's because we are inherently dishonest. That's why the MBA is coming in.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So quickly, just to, my very dear brother, we're on the same page in terms of wanting our colleagues to earn a living. On that one, we're in agreement. And whatever would enable us achieve that, we cannot disagree. But I'm a firm believer in following the law. And if there are issues, as long as I think we are programmed and trained to query and question established norms and precepts. And I don't think there's anything wrong in saying that if you've started a process and there's an issue, you raise the issue so that it can be trashed. That is why we go to court and we query established provisions, even of our ground norm. So there's absolutely nothing wrong in saying that if something is bad, interrogate it. I don't think there's anything wrong in doing that. As senior advocates, we have a duty and a responsibility to also guide those coming before. And I dare say not just as senior advocates, as senior lawyers. One of the comments you made around, with respect, sir, around the information given to the MBA, you talked about the possibility of redacting some information around maybe the name of a client and things like that. I made a comment here earlier that on the 1st of January, 2026, the taxman cometh. On the 1st of January, 2026, there is no hiding place. It is no longer a question of BOJ, for those of you who are tax practitioners, best of judgment. Whatever financial transaction you engaged in, you must give full explanation. Because when you say 20 million naira was paid on your behalf to the MBA, they're asking you to who, for what purpose? They need to see. Hold on. Hold on. So it's so important. Hold on. Hold on. Yes, exactly. No, listen, the question, what I'm trying to answer, Are, is your response that you could erase or redact. The question no. The question, the situation or answer I'm giving you is, it's not even possible. It's not doable. You must disclose. You must disclose. Because when the appropriate time comes, you have to answer that question. To answer your question, Madam Chair, I think we have a responsibility to guide our colleagues and ourselves. We have something called the rules of professional conduct. We've already spoken around the issue of confidentiality and the potentials for what we have now impacting on the confidences that have been bestowed on us as legal counsel to diverse clients, small and big. That is an age-old way of doing business, if you want to put it that way, between a lawyer and his client. I'm not sure that that has changed. It would seem to me very odd that we ourselves would, on our own, take steps to want to erode that very fundamental relationship that we have with clients. I think that is something that we should stop. I would say we'll continue to educate ourselves. You've mentioned that this committee is a standing one. It is dynamic. We would like to see that so that when issues like this, when discussions like this are held, information flows back so that if issues need to be corrected, they are corrected. But I don't see that happening anytime soon. That's just my concern. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have the grace of God. I don't like to say luck. The grace of God in this branch, that one of the architects of the remuneration order is here with us. So we would like to hear him. That happens to be the keynote speaker. Leonard Silk, please.
Thank you, my Lord. I just found the conversation very interesting, particularly the thriller movie that Tony Hadley Chase is writing now for publishing. Let me just address 3 or 4 issues that have come up in this conversation. One is a question by Mr. Kukubo on, is it a law and all of that? Yes, it is a law. It is not a direction. It is not an advisory note. It is a law. Myself and Mr. Akiboro were in Lagos a week and a half ago at the town hall meeting that Lagos branch held in respect of having a harmonized discussion on this piece of legislation. And indeed, that is very much recommended to all the states, rather than Port Harcourt having its resolution on how to implement
Degema having its resolution separate, and all